What is going on, everybody? So today we're going to be doing a Sword and Shield booster box update for the week. And I'm going to try and make this fast because there aren't a ton of interesting things to talk about. There are a couple interesting things probably for some people, but we'll go through this fairly fast. I don't want to waste your time. Battle styles. Don't see this moving anytime soon. It is up week over week a little bit, up to around $207 USD, but there's a fairly healthy supply on the secondary market. It's still selling at a fairly slow pace as well, so don't expect this to pop off anytime soon. Chilling Reign, this box has actually pulled back over the past week. It was up to around 450. TCG player now around 420. I know there was a couple people, or maybe it was just one person, that sold a lot of boxes for some of these sets at very discounted rates. I'm not sure if they're trying to manipulate the market. Again, TCG player is independent of eBay, and eBay data isn't really reflecting what TCG player is showing. So 420 on TCG player. I think the lowest listed was about 435 before fees and shipping on eBay. This is one of two boxes, though, I will say, out of all of these alternate art sets where the majority of the boxes are coming from one seller. I believe there was almost 90 boxes listed below a 20% leg up, and I think 48 or 50 of them were from one guy. So keep an eye on that. That is something to note about Chilling Reign. I will say, though, that those boxes, I believe, were listed at $500. So it's closer to the higher end of a 20% leg up than the lower end. So it is possible that this box could jump to like 470, 480 fairly quickly. I don't think that's going to happen just based on sell-through rate, but it is a possibility. Now, the two sets that people are probably more interested in, Evolving Skies, I think this box, and I don't think this is going to be a super bold claim, I think this box is going to be comfortably over $2,000 by the end of 2025. I don't think we're really going to see this stagnate either. I think it's just going to continue to slowly climb over time. And maybe this is a bit more of a bold claim. I think Evolving Skies over the next 2 to 4 years, you're probably still going to get a better annualized ROI on Evolving Skies than a lot of SV era booster boxes. As ridiculous as that seemed at like what, 12, 13x MSRP at this point, I still think Evolving Skies is just that much better than a lot of these SV era sets. Even up to February of this year, over the past 5 years, Evolving Skies had over 100% annualized ROI. And it's probably even higher than that because I think it was actually 110. And that was back in February when the box was like $1,300. So now that it's $1,750, so $450-ish higher, that number might even be a little bit higher. So I think Evolving Skies, it's still going to be something that people turn to over the next 2 to 4 years. And there isn't a ton of supply on the secondary market still. And in terms of days of remaining inventory before we see this box break through $2,000, not super high either. And a lot of the listings are from individual sellers who only have 1 or 2 boxes as well. And I think that's going to be the trend going forward on a lot of these Sword and Shield sets, especially as they get more expensive. Fusion Strike, it's kind of in the same boat where there isn't a ton of supply out there. I think we're going to see this box slowly climb over time. And I'm going to say this as well. I think there's a world we live in where Fusion Strike is a $1,000 box by the end of 2025. That really would not surprise me. It also wouldn't surprise me if it was $700, if it was $800, but there is a world we live in, and it's not like a minute possibility. I think it's a pretty legit possibility where this box is $1,000 by the end of the year. So keep an eye on Fusion Strike. Brilliant Stars, this is another box on TCG Player that pulled back a little bit. I think someone sold some boxes at a fairly discounted rate, and that might be affecting the graph a little bit. It's not really reflected on TCG Player. I think the lowest listed is around $435 still. There's a decent amount of supply out there. It's still within striking range where I think it's possible the box could climb back up to like 450, 460 fairly quickly. But it's not like right there on the edge where I think it's going to go tomorrow or something. So keep an eye on this box. I don't think it's going to make crazy moves, but it is possible. Astral Radiance, same sort of deal. There isn't a ton of supply on the secondary market. A lot of it's coming from individual sellers, but not selling at a fast pace. You guys know Astral Radiance, compared to a lot of these other boxes, does sell fairly inconsistently. I think there are a couple listings at like $390, $395 on eBay, but most of the listings are back over $400. Lost Origin, this was a box that I think last week I talked about having potential to climb again to like $600 fairly shortly. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. This week, the sell-through rate was down a lot, and I think we're going to see this box maybe trade in this like 530 to 550 range, but I don't think we're going to see it hit 600 anytime soon. I could be wrong about that. We'll keep an eye on it week to week, but that's just where I'm at this week based on what I'm seeing. And for me, that's kind of disappointing because I still have a fair amount of Lost Origin. So obviously I love seeing my heavy bags go up in price, but also just for the fact that Fusion Strike's kind of pulling away at this point and solidifying itself as the number 2 box of the Sword and Shield era. It would have been nice for Lost Origin or Chilling or another set to kind of put up a better fight and really contest for that number 2 spot. But it seems at this point, Lost Origin's probably going to be in third place by a fair amount. So that's kind of going away from the point of this video, so we'll just continue to move on. Silver Tempest, I said at the beginning of the video, there were 2 sets on this list where the majority of the boxes came from one seller. Chilling Reign was the first box. Silver Tempest is the other box where more than 50% of the supply is coming from one person. Now I will say, keep an eye on Silver Tempest. I think this box could make a run up to $400 in the short term. The sell-through rate was up this week a little bit. And also when you look at sets that people historically put behind Silver Tempest, like Brilliant Stars for some people, obviously Astral Radiance for a lot of people, these boxes are now pushing $400, $430, $440. People might start looking at Silver Tempest around $330, $340 and viewing that as a deal. I understand it's one of the newer sets. There is more supply out there compared to both Brilliant Stars and Astral Radiance. But again, we live in a world where there is a possibility where this box out of nowhere just climbs up into 380, 390 and starts to put itself back in contention as one of those middle tier sets. Because right now when you look at Silver Tempest, it's kind of falling behind a lot of these other alternate art sets except for maybe Battle Styles, which that doesn't really surprise anyone. If you guys do want to get access to the spreadsheet, I'll leave a link at the top of the description down below. Also, if you're shopping on eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, Cardboard Hero, I have affiliate links in the description also. They're a free and easy way to support the channel. It helps me continue making free videos for you guys. With that said, thank you so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.